Thank you for joining us today at the Smart City Expo. I'm thrilled to introduce Michael Dyke, CEO of New Murabba, an innovative project set to redefine urban living in Riyadh with smart and sustainable city planning. Michael, thank you for being here with us today and sharing your ambitious development and what it means for the future of urban innovation. New Murabba is positioned as a human-first downtown, blending technology with nature and accessibility. How does this concept influence the design and development of urban spaces, and what are the most significant benefits you foresee for residents and for visitors?
Well, thank you for having me. And yes, we focus first and foremost by putting people at the heart of our new downtown. We're going to be the world's largest modern downtown with 19 square kilometers of space and 400,000 residents and tens of millions of visitors every year coming and going. So we need to think about people. How is it going to feel to be in New Murabba? So therefore, we took some big decisions at the beginning. The first big decision was to dedicate 25% of the 19 square kilometers to green space, which means that by doing that, we are creating the physical space for people to actually be fit and well, okay? Be able to connect with nature and to be able to connect back to the natural wadis, which are the waterways of Riyadh. We also then dedicated 25% of the space, another 4 kilometers squared, to mobility. And that's mobility that has, for one, an urban loop of 11 kilometers, which means that people can just simply walk with the safe and the knowledge that they will never see a vehicle, which is great. They can cycle, they can walk their dogs, they can be with their children, they can jog or whatever. So we've really allocated 50% of the total space to livability, which I think is really, really important. And then on the other 50%, we develop our modern downtown. So what we have been able to create is this lovely balance of a downtown with high-rise, with all of the things, the convenience and the options and the choices that you have in the downtown. But you can also step in the other direction and you can be in the green space. So when you really think about it, compare it to New York City, it's like taking the core downtown in New York City, but creating the park life around it. So the green space we have at New Murabba is more than 2 times the size of Central Park in New York. So for residents living there, they have the ability to be in a community, to live, work and play, and they can just be living in a park. So that really is, I think, one of our special standouts.
And that's a high standard of living.
It is.
And what about this, the Mukaab structure? The Mukaab is like an iconic centerpiece of New Murabba, redefining Riyadh skyline. Can you tell us about the role of advanced technology and innovation in the Mukaab's design and how it contributes to creating a sustainable and immersive urban experience?
Yes. So Mukaab, which sits at the heart of New Murabba, is the world's largest structure ever known to man or woman, and it's not a building, even though it looks like a building. It is the most complex engineering undertaking you can imagine. So it's 400 meters by 400 meters by 400 meters, which is the equivalent of taking 20 Empire State Buildings and putting sides and a roof on top of them. So we have the largest roof in the world at 16 hectares. And then inside Mukaab, we have an immersive dome. And the dome is 340 meters in diameter and 380 meters in height, which means that when you enter Mukaab, you enter another world. So to your question around the technology, we are working with some of the most amazing engineers in the world, from the west coast of the US to the Far East, trying to nail down the precise technology which will actually create the ability for people to step into Mukaab and feel like they are in another world. So what that means is we have to wrestle with the challenges around multi-perspective. We have to deal with horizon fade. We have to think about how big something will be when you are 300 meters in the air looking down compared to how big it is at human size. So all of the above are the challenges we're wrestling with. But it's an amazing opportunity for us to actually push the boundaries of technology and to create another world where people will come back to time and again. In terms of how it relates to sustainability, you can imagine that because we have a large immersive experience on the face of it, that creates a requirement for energy and power. But we work very closely with the authorities within the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia So we will be connecting into the grid, the electricity grid within the Saudi electricity company, which means that we have the ability to have low carbon energy at source. In addition to that, we also have the ability through our green space and through the natural wadis to create a better distribution of carbon within the estate. Above and beyond that, we have all of the normal things you would expect to see. We have green roofs, we have green walls, we have rainwater harvesting, we have cooling technology, and everything else you can imagine. But ultimately, everything comes together in a smart city. So we're creating a place where people want to live, work, and play, but actually we're also creating a place which is founded on a platform of everything being born smart. So we have the ability to design corridors, dedicated places to accommodate the equipment that enables us to be a smart city with sensors and controls and everything else you can imagine.
And with sustainability and biodiversity being at the core values, New Murabba dedicates a significant portion to open spaces and habitat areas. How are you integrating smart city technologies to manage these spaces effectively while enhancing the quality of life for the high density population you expect?
Yes, so smart city technology is already with us today. It's all around us, but what we're seeing is smart city technology advance at such a rapid pace, which is what we have to think about. And we open in just over 2,000 days, which is 5 or 6 years, but we know that the tech we know today will be different in 6 years' time. So we have to think about how we can future-proof the physical estate first, and then how we can layer onto that the platforms and ultimately the technological sensors and controls to be able to push the boundaries and to be able to create a city that is born smart. So dedicated corridors for pipes and wires, dedicated space for racks, so we can handle the data and protect all of the information. And also making sure the smart city is enabled through technological apps as well, which means that anybody visiting New Murabba, they can go online first. They can have an amazing experience anticipating coming. They can then have an amazing smart enabled experience participating when they are here. They have an amazing experience exploring, and then ultimately we have the ability to let them celebrate when they're either at New Murabba going home at the end of the night or departing back to another international country. And our aim and our hope and our aspiration is that by creating the most amazing experience in the largest modern downtown, the first thing people do when they go away from the kingdom and they go home is to look online and book their ticket to come back.
That's amazing. Thank you very much for your insights. And I can't wait to see the outcome of this, such a futuristic project. And it's really set to change what the boundaries of urban living.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Are we off?